Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Unstoppable Entertainment Show, the most comprehensive entertainment show on the internet. I am, of course, Nate Schaffner, otherwise known as the Unstoppable Nate. I apologize for the lateness of the show. Uh, there are a couple things that are happening in the industry uh, right now that I wanted to do some research on and um, take notes on and talk about this week. So that's a big reason why you're seeing the show on a Sunday instead of a Saturday as usual. I hope everyone out there is doing well. I hope you're doing okay, and if not, I hope that this show provides a brief respite from whatever it is that you're going through. Um, I got a big show for you guys this week. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of news, a lot of stuff happening. So sit back, relax, grab a glass of wine, and get comfortable because this is got a big news week. Big news week. But before I get started, I just wanted to remind everybody that if you like this show, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, spread the word, tell your friends who might be interested in a show like this. And also, if you have a comment or a question, or if you'd like me to talk about certain movies or franchises, you can email me anytime at the address listed in the description of this video. So with all that down, I'm going to get started here. And I'm going to get started with this. So, Angelina Jolie, who was one of my favorite actresses ever. Um, I mean, she's been acting since the early '80s. Um, has is going to be in a new film. Um, this article is on Screen Rant, published by Hannah Gearin. Um, and let me see here. So she is going to be starring in a film adaptation of Anxious People. There is a comedy kind of mystery novel by Frederick Backman called Anxious People, and Angelina Jolie will be starring in in a film adaptation of that. Uh, so about halfway down on this in this article, um, it does say that per deadline, Jolie will now star in the Anxious People movie. Um, and so uh, I just want to point out here that Backman is a notable author who made. He wrote a bestseller called A Man Called Ove, which was which was made into a Swedish film, and then Hollywood remade it called A Man Called Otto with Tom Hanks, which is a wonderful movie. So Angelina Jolie will star in this movie, and you know, I've always been a huge fan of her as an actress. She's, as I said, she's one of my favorite actresses, um, and so the book is about a bank robber who ends up taking a group of people hostage in an apartment building after a failed robbery. Um, and The film will be directed by Mark Foster. Um, and it's again kind of this comedy heist movie. I think it's good. I love watching Angelina Jolie. She's an Oscar-winning actress, and I think it'll be interesting to see her do uh, a, a comedy. I think that'll be wonderful to see. You know um, I think it'll be great to see her stretch her Oscar-winning actress chops. And I like heist movies, and the fact that this is going to be a more comedic take. I think this is. I think this could be really good, and it's the other thing too is that it'll be great to see. Um, um, she hasn't I, she hasn't really been acting much lately, and I personally have missed watching her. And it's going to be it'll be it's always nice to see her on screen and watch her do what she does best, and it'll be great to see her return to acting again. So jump to the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this piece of news. So this next bit of news has to do with the John Wick franchise. Um, I talked about a couple weeks ago. I talked about the fact that they're going to focus on. There's going to be a John Wick spin-off movie titled Caine, and it will focus on Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen played Caine in John Wick Chapter 4, and this movie will focus on his character. Now, for those who don't know, um, Caine, Donnie Yen's character, uh, Caine. Um, so in John Wick Chapter 4, there was a scene involving a character by the name of Akira. So in John Wick 4, um, Caine in John Wick Chapter 4, there was a character by the name of Akira, and Akira's father in the movie was killed by Caine, um, the Donnie Yen character. Now, for those who don't know, because I'm not sure who does know, there was a post-credit scene in John Wick Chapter 4 that showed Akira. Um, so Akira is seeking revenge for the death of her father, and she is hunting Caine. So Caine killed Akira's father, and now the post-credit scene is Akira seeking revenge for the death of her father by hunting Caine. I know I just repeated myself a couple times, but I'm just trying to make sure you guys understand this properly. So we have another casting announcement. So regarding the Caine spin-off movie, this report is on CBR, published by Lee Freitag. And about halfway down in this article, it says that according to Variety, Rina Sawayama will reprise her role as Akira, the fearless daughter of Hiroyuki Sanada's Shimazu Koji in Caine. So Shimazu Koji was Akira's father. Caine killed him, and now Akira is hunting Caine and seeking revenge for for the death of her father. So and uh, Sawayama is now the second confirmed actor for Caine for the Caine movie, which will follow the Caine character after he has been freed from his obligations to the High Table. This isn't, again, considering the post-credit scene in John Wick Chapter 4, this isn't really surprising, but it also, like, when they announced that a Caine spin-off movie was happening, I personally, um, I wasn't sure what the story of the spin-off of this Caine movie was going to be. Um, was it going to be like, was it going to be an origin kind of thing, or I just wasn't sure uh, um, what the story was going to be. And to be completely honest, I had also completely forgotten about the fact that there was that post credit scene in John Wick Chapter 4. So this news that Akira, the character of Akira, is returning. This basically basically says all we need to know about what the story is going to be. And I'm really looking forward to it. I really liked the character of Akira, played by Rina Sawayama. Um, and now that I'm remembering that post credit scene, this is going to be. I think this could be really cool, and we could get some really um, cool action sequences, especially because Donnie Yen is directing the movie, and Rena. Um, um, Sorry, the Rena's character Akira. She's a she's a badass character, um, and I think it'll be really cool to see those two characters cross paths. So jump in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about the character of Akira coming back for the Caine spin-off movie. Are you looking forward to this movie? What do you guys think? Jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. So this next bit of news has to do with an upcoming graphic novel. Uh, so there's going to be a film adaptation of a graphic novel series. Sorry. Um, so this report is on CBR, published by Deanna Carpenter. Um, Phil Dunster, who is on Ted Lasso, um, and he will be. Let's see. I want to make sure I get this right. He will be the lead in. So there's going to be a live action adaptation of the Blake and Mortimer graphic novel series by Edgar P. Jacobs, um, and Phil Dunster, who plays Jamie. He plays Jamie Tart on Ted Lasso. He is going to star in this adaptation. So basically, the premise of the Blake and Mortimer graphic novel series is this MI5 Captain Break. I want to read the synopsis here. The series follows MI5 Captain Francis Blake and his friend scientist Philip Mortimer. Dunster will play Mortimer, and the official synopsis of the film reads: Europe, 1941. Nazi Germany develops the Omega Wave, a dangerous mind control weapon capable of bending human will. MI5 Captain Blake and physicist Mortimer join forces to destroy it. The lab goes up in flames and the weapon is lost, or so they believe. 12 years later, in 1953 London, A string of unexplained deaths grips the city. A shadowy figure known as M surfaces, armed with the Omega Wave. With the Queen's coronation days away, Blake and Mortimer, two old friends, reunite on a deadly mission. First of all, this sounds so cool to me. I am very excited to see this. I always look. I've said before. I love my Marvel and DC stuff, but I'm always excited to see more independent comics and comic books and graphic novels get film adaptations. And this this sounds like it could really I think this could be really cool and really interesting to see. Now, I haven't seen um, Ted Lasso, so I can't comment on that show. But it sounds like it sounds like everybody is excited to work on this. And judging from the premise, it sounds like they should be. Um, so I'm excited to see more independent graphic novel, a more independent graphic novel get a film adaptation. I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes together. Um, and the premise sounds really cool. I'm really excited for this. So jump in the comments section and let me know what you guys think about a Blake and Mortimer film adaptation. Okay, this next bit of news is interesting. Um, so uh, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock are going to co-star in their third movie together. Now, for those who don't know, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock first starred together in the 1994 movie Speed, which is great. Speed is awesome. And then uh, uh, years later, they would do The Lake House together, which, uh, you know, it's the less said about that movie, the better. So, but now it has been announced that they are going to reunite yet again. This report is on CBR, published by Deanna Carpenter. Um, Let me see here. Um, so there's not much information to go on, unfortunately. But Keanu Reeves. So Keanu Reeves. It does say that Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock are reuniting to star in a new, yet untitled romantic thriller that's being developed for Amazon MGM Studios. The script is coming from Noah Oppenheim, who wrote Jackie. Um, and uh, so so there's not much information to go on here. Mm. Hopefully, the end product ends up being more like Speed and not The Lake House. It does say a romantic thriller, so that intrigues me. If it was more romantic comedy or like romance, I'd be worried that it would go the way of The Lake House. Um, Not that I don't love romantic comedies or romance movies. I good ones can be great, but The Lake House didn't really work out that well. So, but a romantic thriller, that sounds interesting to me. The one thing you can't deny about I mean, because they've worked together twice now before, and um, you know, Speed and the Lake House, they obviously have great chemistry working together, and it'll be nice to see. I have a feeling that um, it won't be hard to recapture that on screen chemistry. It won't be hard to repeat that. Um, Again, hopefully, the end product will be more the quality of Speed and not of the Lake House. That's my only concern at this point. I'm really looking forward to um, seeing these two together again. So we'll see how it turns out. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock reuniting for a third film. Excuse me just a second. I want to make sure I'm looking up something for the show, for today's show, and I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, moving on here. So, this next bit of news has to do with an upcoming movie that Shia LaBeouf is going to be in. Now, I know that Shia LaBeouf has had his uh, fair share of off-screen controversy, drama, whatever you want to call it. I don't care about that. I love him as an actor. I enjoy watching him as an actor. So I just wanted to preface what the I just wanted to preface this piece of news by saying that I don't. He's gone through some shit. Everybody does. I think he's a very fine actor. So this piece of news is on Joe Blow, published by Steve Saig. Um, so Shia LaBeouf is going to be uh, um, starring in a movie titled God of the Rodeo. Um, and it will be about the first ever prison inmate rodeo. Now, about halfway down in this report, again on Joe Blow, published by Steve Saig, according to Deadline's exclusive report, God of the Rodeo is set against the brutal backdrop of Louisiana's Angola prison in 1967. God of the Rodeo tells the story of Bucky, a hardened inmate serving a life sentence who finds a glimmer of redemption in an unlikely opportunity: the prison's first ever inmate rodeo. As Bucky and his fellow inmates prepare for a last grasp at glory, they are confronted with the reality that the rodeo is nothing more than a gladiatorial showcase, a grueling fight for survival destined to satiate the public's bloodlust and fulfill the warden's delusion of godliness. That sounds very interesting to me. Um, so, um, this this kind of sounds like. First of all, this sounds very interesting to me. This idea of um, this this idea of presenting this rodeo as one thing while eventually coming to terms with the fact that no, it's they're they're realizing what the rodeo actually is. It's presented as one thing, and they come to the realization like, no, this is what it actually is. That sounds very interesting to me. And um, let me see here. I want to make sure that uh, if there's any more information. You know, I think this sounds like a very interesting project. Um, this again, this idea, this sounds very kind of, um, how do I want to say it? Um, this kind of reminds me of Gladiator a little bit. You know, presenting these um, um, gladiator games as one thing, but really you're presenting it uh, to gain popularity in the public. Um, I think that could be a very interesting story to tell. And with the caliber of Shia LaBeouf in the lead character, I think this could be another standout performance for him. You know, I really think that the I'll say it. I really think that the stuff that he's been through personally has kind of affected how people think of him as an actor. I think he's a wonderful actor. Um, I think he's amazing. I think he has this ability to disappear into every role uh, that he plays. And in my opinion, he's only getting better with age. Um, and I don't know, what else to say about this project other than it sounds it's if he's playing the lead character, this kind of revelation that this realizing what this gladiatorial showcase is that could be an interesting twist in this movie and an interesting arc for his character to go through. And I think we could really see another kind of tour de force performance from Shia LaBeouf. I really do. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about this. Mm. This next piece of news um, has to do with an upcoming movie that David O. Russell will be directing. Now, for those who don't know, David O. Russell directed The Fighter with Christian Bale and Mark Wahlberg. He directed Joy with Jennifer Lawrence, and he also directed American Hustle. Um, so he's a very accomplished director and a very good director. Um, so this article um, is on Joe Blow, published by E.J. Tangunen, and this article says that director David O. Russell will helm Shutout. That's the title of the movie. It will be called Shutout, reuniting him with frequent collaborator Robert De Niro. Um, so joining De Niro is um, Jenna Ortega. Now, um, this article goes on to say that Shutout, excuse me, Shutout follows Jake Keyoon. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Jake Keyoon, played by De Niro, one of the last masters of a vanishing craft, the pool hustler. Having lived and lost by the roll of a ball in smoky backroom halls, Jake encounters Mia, played by Jenna Ortega, a young prodigy whose raw, electrifying talent reignites a fire he thought long extinguished. Sensing a rare opportunity to shape a legend, Jake takes Mia under his wing, honing her instincts and sharpening her natural gift. Together, they plunge into the ruthless world of high stakes pool, where the line between unimaginable fortune and devastating failure is razor thin. As Mia's star ascends and her ambition grows, Jake must confront the ultimate question. Can he steer her to greatness, or will her hunger for victory eclipse everything he has taught her? This sounds very interesting to me. First of all, this kind of reminds me of um, so okay. I have not seen The Hustler, the movie with Paul Newman, but I have seen The Color of Money, um, which saw a return to the character for Paul Newman, and it also co-starred Tom Cruise, and I love that movie. So this synopsis kind of reminds me of that, but it also sounds like it's going to be a little different. David O. Russell is a very good director. Um, Jenna Ortega is obviously one of the. Uh, she's a very popular name right now. She's working a lot, and that's great because she's a wonderful actress. Um, and her star is rising um, every day. It feels like Robert De Niro is one of the greatest actors of our time. He may have he may have done a couple of things recently. Well, not recently. Over the past few years, he may have been in a couple of films that were questionable, um, like he did this movie with Zac Efron called Dirty Grandpa, and I it was heartbreaking to watch that movie because look, I'm not going to question why. I'm not going to question why an actor does a project, but to me, watching Robert De Niro um, in a not just it wasn't that it was a raunchy comedy. I have no problem with a raunchy comedy, but it was a bad raunchy comedy. It was bad, and you know, I I it was heartbreaking to watch because it was like again Robert De Niro I think is one of the greatest actors of our time, and to see him doing everything that he could do doing the best he could with the material that he was given, and yet it still didn't work. That was heartbreaking to me. Look, if you've had the kind of success that Robert De Niro has had, why not do a raunchy comedy? You know, screw it. You know, um, but it was heartbreaking to um, um, see him re- reduced to that kind of. Anyway, um, this this sounds like uh, this sounds kind of perfect uh, because I think there's there's a lot of I don't want to presume too much, but this also sounds like this could be kind of a method, like it could be they could bring a lot of uh, aspects of their. I'm trying to think of how to say it, but like um, Jenna Ortega is one of the hottest rising stars in the industry right now. And, you know, respectfully, I think Robert De Niro's career is winding down, and I think this film, pres- the premise of this film, and I don't want to. I don't want to. Maybe I'm going too far with this, but it's like this, I feel like the premise of this film could present an opportunity to talk about that in the guise of a pool hustler movie, if that makes any sense. You know, this idea that this uh, highly respected and legendary pool hustler takes on this young talent to teach her a few things. You know, that could echo their careers as well. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I think this is the uh, this sounds very interesting to me. You know, and the other thing too is like pool is one of these sports. It's one of these games that I I actually am pretty good at pool. To be honest with you, my grandfather played a lot of pool, and he was exceptionally good at it. And you know, I one thing I wonder is uh, will Robert De Niro and Jenna Ortega, will they actually learn to play for the movie, or will they use uh, like will they use camera tricks to make it look like they're actually playing, or will they actually play? That's a question that always intrigues me. You know, this sounds great to me. I'm very much looking forward to this. Hopefully, it turns out good, and hopefully, this will be another this will be another win for everyone involved. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about Robert De Niro and Jenna Ortega being in a pool hustler movie. You know, what do you guys think about that? Excuse me. Mm, sorry about that. So this next bit of news has to do with is some possible MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe news. So I it's been confirmed. I think it was on. It was one of the late night talk shows. I think it was Kimmel. It was one of the late night talk shows. Ryan Reynolds was asked if um, he would be doing a Deadpool 4, and he said no. But evidently, that does not rule out Deadpool appearing in other MCU movies. This report is on MovieWeb, published by Stephen Thrash. Um, so about halfway down uh, in this article, it does say that according to a new report published by um, the Hollywood Reporter on May, and by new report it says May 2nd, Ryan Reynolds is in the early stages of penning, meaning writing, of writing treatments for a team up between quote 3 or 4 members of the X-Men and the and the chimichanga eating Merc with a mouth. However, it's important to note that Reynolds has not pitched any of these new ideas to Marvel Studios at the time of this writing. So, Ryan Reynolds is in the early stages of developing a team up movie uh, with Deadpool and the X-Men. Great. Great. One of the ongoing jokes that I love in the Deadpool franchise is him is the fact that Deadpool constantly makes fun of the fact makes fun of the X-Men or pokes fun at, you know, like I love in the first Deadpool movie, uh, Deadpool shows up at the X mansion, and he says, "Oh, I wonder why I'm only talking to you three people. I guess it's because Fox couldn't afford any other X-Men to be in this movie." And then he just walks away. So, a Deadpool and X-Men movie, that sounds really cool. God, I hope one of them is Wolverine. I hope one of them is Wolverine. I think that could um, it'd be cool to see them, to see one of them um, be Wolverine. I just think of the possibilities. Like, could one of them be Beast? Kelsey Grammer comes back as Beast and has to team up with Deadpool. That could be funny. I this could again, and this is kind of um, I hope it's rated R too. I mean, not just because, like, not just because for R rated purposes, but because Deadpool as a character is more suited towards the R rating. Um, and and I I'm a grown adult. I can handle an R rating. I just wonder what the possibilities could be. But this sounds very cool to me. Could I'd love to see Deadpool team up with, like, Beast, Storm, and Wolverine, or Cyclops, or, I mean, the possibilities are endless. What's been very clear just by watching the Deadpool movies is the passion that Ryan Reynolds has for the character of Deadpool. And I loved the first two Deadpool movies, and I really enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine. I enjoyed it quite a lot. And it's really cool, and maybe this could be because Deadpool and Wolverine was the first entry into the MCU, into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Maybe this could be one of the ways, like, maybe this could be the way. I mean, there have been hints before in uh, the recent Marvel uh, Marvel streaming shows. There have been hints about mutants, like in Miss Marvel. But maybe this could be the way that Marvel brings in the core X-Men, that core group. Who knows? This is, I have no doubt that this is going to, I have every reason to believe this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. And uh, I'm just soaking it up right now. I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. And again, the possibilities are endless. I think it's cool that he's working on a team up movie and not Deadpool 4. Um, I think he's acknowledging the fact that, hey, he won't be able to do this. Unlike Hugh Jackman, he won't be able to do this till he's 90. Um, so there, I like that. I'm so excited for this. Bring it on. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about uh, Ryan Reynolds working on a Deadpool and X-Men team up movie. Okay, this next bit of news uh, is a little disheartening, but it happens. So there, there's a movie coming out called called Three Bags Full, a sheep detective movie. And it's an action comedy movie starring Hugh Jackman and Bryan Cranston, both of whom are two of my favorite actors ever. And um, that movie has been delayed. Um, this article is on Screen Rant, published by Katrina Yang. Hugh Jackman and Bryan Cranston's upcoming action comedy Three Bags Full, a sheep detective movie, is reportedly being delayed. The Kyle Balda directed project was previously scheduled to hit the theaters on February 20th, 2026. Um, the plot follows George Hardy, played by Hugh Jackman, as a shepherd who reads his sheep murder mystery stories at night, unaware that they can understand him. When George is murdered, the sheep decided to solve his murder when the case landed in the hands of an inexperienced local cop. Okay, can I just that sounds so wild to me. Like I have to see this movie. I need it now. Like what? Okay, so um, this article does go on to say that according to Deadline, the release date of Three Bags Full, a sheep detective movie, has been moved to November of 2026. Um, so it's been delayed. I can't do math. I can't do impromptu math. March, April, May, June, July, October, June, July, August, September, October. 8 months. Wow, I cannot do impromptu math. It's been delayed 8 months. Now, what's interesting, I guess not interesting, but the reassuring thing is that they do get this article does give a reason why the movie was delayed. This article does say that Amazon MGM Studios reportedly shifted the movie's scheduled slot for February next year to a pre-Thanksgiving release date to pull in more families. The movie's new release date is November 13th. So they want more people to see this movie. And judging by the fact that it's going to be an action comedy, it does that is going to be more a more four quadrant film than let's say if it were just an action movie. I think an action comedy is more you're going to obviously going to put more butts in seats with that. Okay. A shepherd who reads his sheep murder mystery stories at night, unaware that the sheep can understand him. When George is murdered, the sheep decided to solve his murder when the case lands in the hands of an inexperienced local cop. What? Like, again, I need this movie now just to see what it is. Like, can the sheep talk? Like, this is going to be so wild to me. Um, and it's going to be great seeing Bryan Cranston and Hugh Jackman um, do comedy. That's to me that's going to be so wild. Um, and um, you know, uh, I don't think that Hugh Jackman gets enough credit for how funny he is. There's the scene in the I know it's a more recent movie, but there's the scene in Deadpool and Wolverine um, where uh, in a diner in Deadpool and Wolverine, and there's the scene where it's one of the many scenes in the movie where Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds they just feed off of each other, and Hugh Jackman is so funny. Um, he's very talented in so many ways, uh, and I'm eagerly anticipating this movie. This sounds so wild to me. Um, it sucks that it's getting delayed, but at the same time, I understand why it's getting delayed. You want to put more butts in seats. Okay, you're probably going to do that in Thanksgiving rather than in February. Um, so that makes sense. God, I can't wait to see this. Jump in the comments section and let me know your thoughts about this. So, I've come to a point now at this week's show to talk about something. Um, you know, I knew from the outset what kind of show I wanted this to be. I wanted to talk. I knew when I created this show, I said I want to talk about movies and I want to talk about entertainment news. Because uh, that's my passion, and I have a lot of opinions and a lot to say. Um, and hopefully you guys have continued to enjoy the show over the past few weeks. I I don't like I don't like talking about, well, I knew from the outset I didn't want to talk about real life events and politics and stuff like that. However, sometimes real world events and politics can affect the entertainment industry. And such was the case um, this past Sunday. So, uh, and I have, you'll have to forgive me because I did a lot of research on this and I made a lot of notes about what it is that I wanted to say about this. So, for those who don't know, let me just get my notes here. For those who don't know, last Sunday, um, Donald Trump got on social media, which is apparently what our federal leaders do these days. They make announcements on social media. Donald Trump made an announcement on social media saying that he would saying that a 100% tariff will be placed on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. Let me just get situated here. He announced that a 100% tariff will be placed on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. And that was all he said. And it should also be noted that White House officials have clarified that no final decisions had been made and that they are exploring all options. Okay. Before I get into, as my father would say, before I get into the real nitty gritty about this stuff, let me just say this. If you if you haven't made any final decisions, and you're still exploring options on how to do this, then don't make the damn announcement. You come out on social media, which again is apparently what our leaders do these days. You come out on social media and say 100% tariff on all movies. Excuse me. Little more detail, please. Oh, we don't have any more details for you. We're still figuring out, but just so you know, this is what we're doing. Nothing else to offer. Nothing else to say. Excuse me. Any more information? No. We don't really have a plan at this time. Have the detail and plan in place before you make the damn announcement. It ain't that fucking hard of a concept to understand, Donald. Good Lord. Because all he's done now is create fear and confusion just with this announcement. And there are many reports that you can find from producers in the industry that are confused by this announcement. What is it? What does it all mean? We don't know because we just came out here and made this announcement, and then we don't, and then that's all we said. That's okay. Maybe put some thought into it before making the damn announcement. But okay. So let me get into what I want to say about this. First of all, I think there are some people who, and I could be wrong, but I think there are people who are confused about what a tariff actually is. So a tariff is basically a tax on products when they come from another country. And they are generally considered, a tariff is generally considered bad for the economy because they can lead to higher prices for consumers, and it can lead to reduced trade and potential retaliation from other countries. So, let me just say this first. The film industry, first of all, film production in the United States has gone down significantly. Specifically, since there was the Hollywood double strike last year, where both the Writers Guild of America, the WGA, and SAG-AFTRA, that's the actors. So both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA and went on a double strike last year, and it lasted a very long time. And so, but ever since the end of that double strike, film production has gone down in the United States 40%, and that is a fact. No one can deny that. However, I feel like I have to point out that the film industry, movies are one of our country's greatest exports. The film industry does not have a trade deficit. Films, most of, like, if you look at film movies that are made in the U.S. that are distributed internationally, or distributed worldwide, movies make more money overseas than they do here. And that's also a fact. So it seems a little weird to me that you want to put 100% on 100% tariff on 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 movies because the film industry does not operate at a trade deficit. That seems a little weird. So, film production in the United States has gone down 40% since the end of the double strike last year. No one can deny that. However, it seems to me, and look, I am not I'd like to think that I'm relatively intelligent, but I'm not a super genius. But I don't think it takes a super genius to figure this shit out and know the facts and and know the stuff that I am about the information that I'm going to present. So the way I see it, there are if to um, recuperate from this 40% film production in the United States, there are two ways to solve it. To solve this problem, you can either offer incentives to entice production back into the U.S. Because specifically with Los Angeles, it is now hilariously expensive to film in Los Angeles and to film in California, which is why a lot of film and TV production has moved to Atlanta or moved to Albuquerque, moved to New Mexico. Um, so that's one of the options, is to offer incentives to entice people to bring film production back into the U.S. Or you can do what our current U.S. government wants to do and use tariffs to punish U.S. film productions that film outside the U.S. So, for example, the Mission Impossible film franchise. Those are U.S. film productions that film around the world. And that is one of the appeals of the Mission Impossible film franchise, is that you know they're not filming on a soundstage, that they are filming at the locations, at the real locations. So these are questions that I have done research on and taken notes on, if you'll indulge me for a few minutes, that our current federal administration has clearly not thought about. Number one, who gets tariffed? Are we talking about foreign films that get released in the U.S., like Godzilla Minus One and movies like Parasite? Are we talking Hollywood films that get filmed entirely overseas, like the James Bond franchise, Harry Potter? Are we talking Hollywood films filmed partially overseas, like, again, going the Mission Impossible movies, the Avengers movies, or are we talking Hollywood films that do their post production overseas? Like a lot of these Hollywood films have visual effects companies, editing companies overseas, and a lot of music for movies gets recorded overseas. Um, you know, those are things that these are details that maybe they should have thought about before making this announcement. Another one is like how much when you talk about 100% tariff, what does that mean in terms of like are we talking like the like let's say the budget of a movie is $150 million. Are you going to place $150 million tariff on the movie? Or are we like or let's say the box office of the movie? Like let's say like Avatar makes $2 billion at the box office, which they have done. Those Avatar movies have made $2 billion. Are you going to place a $2 billion tariff on that movie? Um, are you going to like let's say a percentage of a movie gets made overseas? Are you going to like let's say 25% of a movie gets filmed overseas? Are you going to place a 25% tariff on the movie? Um, these are things that these are little things that I've taken notes on that and again, I'm relatively intelligent, but I feel like these are details that you know these are details that maybe they should have thought of before making an announcement um, on social media. Maybe you should have thought about this before making the announcement, because again, there are plenty of articles that you can find where film producers are panicking because this will absolutely the one thing that absolutely will happen if this happens is that this will absolutely kill independent film. It will kill it flat. Um, the other thing that I don't think that evidently Donald didn't think of this when making this announcement is that there will be consequences to if he does this, and if he implements a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S. And one of those consequences could be retaliatory tariffs. Um, Other countries will not allow films to be made. Things like that. The other thing that will happen, and this absolutely will happen if a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S., if that happens, one other thing that will happen is Hollywood, the film production in Hollywood will be reduced dramatically. If the cost of making movies increases, then less movies will get made. And that's just a fact. So you're trying to create more. You're saying the movie industry in America is dying. You're saying you want to try to create more production in the U.S. But all you're doing is creating more problems. Like this solution that you have, that you just came out on social media and announced without giving any fucking details. This solution is only creating more problems. And the other thing that will happen is the cost for the consumer will go up. This will cause movie theaters to increase ticket prices and um, things like that. So this is a this is a really dumb idea. It's stupid. Um, Again, this idea that you want to make Hollywood great again or whatever the fuck, and um, again, this solution that you have, you're only creating more problems. And you you just came out and made this announcement without giving any details. Maybe you should have thought about the details before making the announcement. And these, what I've just listed off as questions and concerns, this, these are things that I've come up with. These are questions and concerns that I have come up with as a lowly commoner of the United States. I I am relatively intelligent, but who am I to question? You know, far be it for me to question the leader of our country. Anyway, so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit and give you my thoughts on it. This sounds incredibly wrong-headed and incredibly dumb to me. Um, you know, but at the same time, you know, lots of things that he has said have sounded incredibly dumb and stupid. So, jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this. I will conclude my rant on this particular subject at this time. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts on it. What do you guys think about it? Do you think this idea is as dumb as I'm thinking it is? Maybe not. Who knows? So let's move on to more pleasant things, shall we? So, um, this next piece of news has to do with what I think is a classic movie. Um, the classic 10 Things I Hate About You. I love 10 Things I Hate About You. It's the modern day retelling of the Taming of the Shrew. It's I love it. So, uh, and it was kind of um, it was Heath Ledger's breakout role. Um, so this piece of news is on Joe Blow, published by E.J. Tangonet. Um, so a little bit down, a little bit down in this article, uh, it does say that Deadline is reporting that the director of the original film, Gil Younger, is now planning to make a sequel trilogy to the 1999 comedy. This article goes on to say the sequel trilogy will also have a nod to the late star, Heath Ledger, who played the school's rebellious student, Patrick Verona. Younger revealed in a new interview that he is collaborating with Nia L. James on a trio of screenplays, the first of which will be titled 10 Things I Hate About Dating, The next two installments that are planned to follow will be titled 10 Things I Hate About Marriage and 10 Things I Hate About Kids. This article continues. This sequel trilogy pitch hasn't officially been greenlit by the studio. However, Younger has told People, that's People magazine, that the first sequel is definitely in the works as a feature film. We're developing it right now. Other than the revealing of the titles, no details on the plots have been announced, and Younger hasn't even thought about a cast that he's considering. Okay. On paper, this sounds wonderful. On paper, this sounds wonderful. You want to do a sequel trilogy to a classic film like this. Okay, great. I think it's about. I think it's too late. I think it's too late. Um, this should have been done maybe 10 years ago. Maybe earlier than that. Um, okay, you're going to do a nod to Heath Ledger. That's great. You should have done it with him. Because it's clear at the end of 10 Things I Hate About You that they end up together. And if you're not going to do it with. If you're going to bring Julie Stiles and everybody else back, that's fine. But if you're not going to do it with the characters of Kat and Patrick, then don't do it at all. I feel like this. It doesn't. It wouldn't feel natural for Kat to be with anybody else but Patrick. And I don't know that people would want to see this movie or see this movie trilogy. I just don't know. You have a trilogy planned. Okay, great. Let's see how the first film does first. You know, again, I think it's too late. I don't think anybody's going to care, especially if Heath Ledger's no longer with us. Um, I feel this movie should have been made a long. I feel this should have been done a long time ago. Um, but who knows? It could work out. It could work, but I don't have much. I don't have much faith in it, and but who knows? I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but we'll see. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. So this next bit of news is interesting. Um, there is going to be another video game to film adaptation. Cue that eye roll meme right now, So um, this there this article is on MovieWeb, published by Marcos Melendez. And basically, this article says that uh, there is going to be an Elden Ring movie adaptation. Now, Elden Ring is um, an action role playing game set in the lands between. That is all I know about this game. because I haven't played it, and I haven't played video games in quite a long time. So, uh, this article is on MovieWeb, published by Marcos Melendez. This article says that the best-selling video game Elden Ring is getting a film adaptation, and the ambitious project has been acquired by one of the most prominent movie studios working today. This article goes on to say that a source has confirmed to MovieWeb that A24, that's A24 Studios, is developing an Elden Ring movie. We were unable to confirm if Alex Garland, who directed Warfare and Ex Machina, is in talks to direct. So, A24 is developing an Elden Ring movie adaptation. And that is the only reason why I'm optimistic about this. Because A24 Studios, if you look at the films that they have, that their studio has produced, it's A24 Studios has a sparkling filmography. So this they really, their studio has a really they really value authorship. They really value the relationships that they cultivate with their filmmakers, and A24 really they've produced some extraordinary work. That is the only reason why I'm looking forward to this movie. That, and I know nothing about Elden Ring, so seeing this movie might give me insight as to what the game is about. This epic fantasy tale, okay, you've piqued my interest with that, so that sounds cool. They, as of the writing of this article, it's unclear who was working on the production, so I can't get any more excited about it. Like, depending on the creative people involved, I'm either going to get more or less excited about it. But I will say, recently, video game to film and TV adaptations have been pretty good. I mean, the Sonic movies are wonderful. And of course, The Last of Us is having great success. So there are recently there have been video game to film adaptations that have been very good, and maybe this could be one of them. Unfortunately, there's not much more to go on here, but the fact that A24 is behind this and developing this, that gives me hope. So, jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about an Elden Ring movie. What do you guys think about that? So this next bit of news, excuse me just a second. I want to research something before I continue. So this next project, Aaron Paul, who was of course on Breaking Bad, he is going to be in a new psychological thriller movie. And this article is on Variety, published by Alex Rittman. Breaking Bad star Aaron Paul has signed on to star in psychological thriller The Midnight Pool for James McTeague. Now, James McTeague directed V for Vendetta, which is great. let's see. This article does go on to say that the 2022 Blacklist script, Blacklist means like the best unproduced scripts. So the 2022 Blacklist script comes from Jonathan Easley, who wrote Red Right Hand, and centers on Johnny Black, played by Aaron Paul, a jaded journalist whom, after a personal tragedy, is lured into the shadows of an elite exclusive society where the pursuit of a career defining story becomes a descent into illusion, manipulation, and altered realities. That sounds awesome. That sounds right up my alley. And and um, it's definitely going to be very like this article points out. This movie is going to be very psychological, and I like Aaron Paul. It'll be great. It's great to see him begin to be the lead in more movies, and I hope that continues. The one question mark I have is James McTeague directing. So James McTeague obviously directed V for Vendetta, which is great. Unfortunately, he hasn't directed anything that good since. He directed Ninja Assassin, um, which if I'm remembering that movie, if I think that's the movie I remember, um, yeah, Ninja Assassin isn't that good. And then he did a movie in 2012 with John Cusack called The Raven, and that was terrible. Um, he did this movie called Survivor with Pierce Brosnan, and I think Mila Jovovich. Um, yeah, when that was terrible. So James McTeague is kind of a one hit wonder director, at least in my mind. But maybe this could change that. This descent into manipulation and altered realities and all that stuff. That sounds. I mean, you've piqued my interest. Um, I just hope it's good, and maybe this could be the movie that gets James McTeague back on the right track. Who knows? But it sounds great. You know, it sounds great on paper. Uh, but we'll see. We'll see. So jump in the comment section and let me know what your guys' thoughts are about James 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 McTeague directing Aaron Paul in a psychological thriller. So I've talked. It's been a minute since I've talked about this, but Ridley Scott has is his next movie is going to be this post apocalyptic thriller titled The Dog Stars. Ridley Scott's The Dog Stars, um, and it sounds great. And Ridley Scott is an exceptional director. Um, so there's been a casting announcement regarding that movie. Um, so this article is on CBR, published by um, Monica Cohen. And this article says that Benedict Wong has been added to the cast of The Dog Stars. Um, Benedict Wong plays Wong in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, um, and he's awesome in those movies. Um, so there are no details about who Benedict Wong is set to play in the movie. So there's not much to go on. However, I think Benedict Wong. I will say that I think Benedict Wong is a wonderful actor. You know, seeing him grow as an actor over the course, specifically of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has been um, such a joyous experience. I mean, going from just being in the first Doctor Strange movie um, for 20 minutes, uh, and it was a great 20 minutes, but seeing now, especially the Wong character being so important, bringing Shang-Chi into the MCU. He's a wonderful actor, and this movie will reunite him with Josh Brolin, who played Thanos in the MCU. So there's going to be a bit of a reunion there. So that'll be great to see. Um, but as far as Benedict Wong being in this movie, I couldn't be happier. This sounds great. I am so looking forward to this movie. Um, and uh, so yeah, so jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Benedict Wong uh, joining Ridley Scott's The Dog Stars. Excuse me. So this next bit of news has to do with the next Evil Dead movie, the next movie in the Evil Dead franchise, which I love. I love the Evil Dead franchise. So this article is on CBR, published by Lee Freitag. Um, and this article, let me see here. About halfway down in this article, it says that per Deadline, the next Evil Dead movie is scheduled to hit theaters on July 24th, 2026. Additionally, Dune Part 2 actress Suhaila Yaqub, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Suhaila Yaqub, who played Shishakli in Dune Part 2. Shishakli was Chani's friend in Dune Part 2, the Fremen warrior friend. She will uh, she will be the star of the new um, Evil Dead movie. Um, Yaqub's Yaqub has also been. She was in the 2018 movie Climax. So it's. I kind of like the fact that a relatively unknown actress will be leading the next Evil Dead movie. It I think having an unknown actress and the starring role will audiences are more uh, able. They don't think of the main actor. They think of the character. I think an unknown is more likely to you see the character more than the actor. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but an unknown actor, there's a certain believability that audiences bring to that. Watching an unknown actor portray a character. I don't know if I'm making any sense about that. I hope I am, but I am so excited for this, and the brief screen time that Sohaila Yaqub was in Dune Part 2, I thought she was very good. So there's that. And So I guess it's going to be called Evil Dead Burn, which sounds great to me. That sounds so awesome. Um, I guess it's been hinted that it will be called Evil Dead Burn. Look, I'm excited for this. I love this franchise. I'm glad to see a relatively unknown actress. I'm glad to see her become more prominent and get more starring roles. I always love seeing that, and I have no doubt that this is going to be great. Evil Dead Rise was awesome, and of course the the trilogy with Bruce Campbell was great as well. So um, um, you know, hopefully it will hopefully it'll be good, and you know we'll we will be able as audiences to see the Evil Dead franchise continue. So I'm looking forward to this. Jump in the comments section and let me know your thoughts about um, this next installment of the Evil Dead franchise. Um, this next bit of news is interesting. Um, it's about an upcoming survival thriller movie. Um, this article is on CBR, published by Adam Mielstrup. This article says Fast and Furious franchise star Michelle Rodriguez and the agency's Richard Gere are teaming up for a new plane survival thriller from director Ben Younger. This article goes on to say, per Deadline, Rodriguez and Gere will star in Left Seat, which is described as a plane survival thriller. This article continues. The official synopsis for Left Seat reads, when a traveling pharmaceutical rep, played by Rodriguez, is forced to take control of a small charter plane after the pilot falls unconscious mid-flight, she must rely on the help of a stranger, played by Richard Gere, over the radio to navigate through deadly storms and land the aircraft before the fuel runs before the fuel runs out. Okay, so sounds uh, pretty when you think of a plane survival thriller movie. This sounds pretty typical. Um, I I I will say this: the the casting of Richard Gere is interesting because I feel like, and this is nothing against Michelle Rodriguez, but I feel like an actor the caliber, uh, having an actor the caliber of Richard Gere in this movie, that says to me that the script is good. Like Richard Gere has been in some Oscar nominated and Oscar winning films, um, and so the casting of him says to me, oh, the script must be good. Um, Michelle Rodriguez is one of my favorite actresses. I think I think she's uniquely talented. She can do action. She can pull off any genre. I think this will be a unique project for her. I think she'll be able to show off her more dramatic chops, which I don't think she gets enough credit for. Um, and obviously, Richard Gere has, um, you know, what can you say about him that hasn't been said before? I mean, he's uh, an award. He's an Oscar caliber talent. He's a wonderful actor, um, and it's he's kind of distanced himself from Hollywood, um, which is neither good nor bad. It's just something I feel like pointing out, and it's great to see him still working. Um, you know, and I think this sounds good. Hopefully it will. What was that movie that came out earlier this year? Flight Risk, directed by directed by Mel Gibson. I haven't heard good things about that, so hopefully Left Seat will turn out better than that. But we'll see. Um, so I will say that again, I think Richard Gere is a wonderful talent. Um, the casting of Michelle Rodriguez is what does this for me. She's one of my favorite actresses, and this sounds good. So uh, I don't think we get a lot of. I will say, I think the plain survival thriller movie, maybe the reason why we don't get many of those is because there's only so much you can do creatively with it. Mm. But we'll see. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it turns out well. Um, so jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about this. So this next bit of news has to do with so Sebastian Stan, who played the Winter Soldier, plays Bucky in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was also recently in. He played Donald Trump in um, the biopic, and he won some awards with that. He will be in an upcoming movie. So um, this article is on Deadline, published by Matt Grobar. This article says that Sebastian Stan from Thunderbolts and Leo Woodall from White Lotus are set to star in Burning Rainbow Farm, the new film from The Order's Justin Kurzel, on which we were first to report last December. Let's see. This article goes on to say an adaptation of the book by Dean Kuipers, penned by Tommy Murphy, who wrote Holding the Man. Burning Rainbow Farm tells the true story of Tom Crosland and Raleigh Rome, a couple in rural Michigan who build a peaceful, pot-friendly utopia called Rainbow Farm. When the two run afoul of local authorities and their young son is taken from them, a standoff ensues, leading to one of the largest and most dramatic sieges America has ever seen. This article goes on to say, Burning Rainbow is a love story about two outliers who raise their middle finger to hate and declare, "This is who we are, and we dare you to take it from us," said Kurzel. "I'm excited to create this lovable and courageous couple with Sebastian and Leo. Their union will be one to remember." Great. Wonderful. This, Sebastian Stan is becoming one of my favorite actors of this current generation. Um, I've seen him in other things, I think he's a very good actor. And obviously, the character growth as Bucky, as the Winter Soldier in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's really He's really that character's coming to his own, and him and Sebastian Stan as an actor has grown as with that character, I think, and he's displayed great range with that character. So I love this idea. Two outliers who raise their middle finger to hate and declare, "This is who we are, and we dare you to take it from us." I think that is a profound message. I think that is a profound message that we need to hear today. Um, we live in a world now that, for whatever reason, kindness is frowned upon. Like, and I don't understand that. Why is it so hard to be nice? Why can't you just? Why does everything? Why can't we have? I don't know. Why can't we have discussions about things instead of being filled with hate and rage and things like that, and this idea of declaring this idea of raising a middle finger to hate is that sounds appealing, at least to me it does. Um, and you know this the premise of these two men run afoul of local authorities, and they're of the when the, this idea of these two people, they run afoul of local authorities and their young son is taken from them. A standoff ensues, leading to one of the largest and most dramatic sieges America has ever seen. That sounds appealing to me. Um, I like that synopsis. Um, I like what this synopsis. I like the ideas that this plot synopsis presents. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Um, and Sebastian Stan is a wonderful actor. I'm really looking forward to this. I want to point out that I think the message of raising the middle finger to hate. I think that could be a powerful message, and I think that could draw audiences in to see it. And with an actor, especially Sebastian Stan, uh, who garnered a lot of awards recognition for playing Donald Trump, I and he's a rising. His star continues to rise, and I think that will bring audiences to see the story. I hope it does, and I hope the story is good, because I think it could be. I think it could be really great. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about this. So we have there's a bit more Marvel Cinematic Universe news to talk about this week. So first of all, for those who don't know, there is going to be a fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, and the title has been revealed, and it is going to be called Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Um, and I love um, the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I think if you take the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, if you take the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, and then you take the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, I think the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies are the best. I really do. Um, I didn't feel that way at first, but over time I've come that I've, my opinion has changed over time. So we have a bit of casting news regarding Spider-Man: Brand New Day. And this article is on Deadline, published by Matt Grobar. And this article says Liza Cologne Zayas, Liza Cologne Zayas, a fan favorite on FX's The Bear, has closed the deal to join Spider-Man: Brand New Day, the fourth installment in the Spidey saga from Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios, Deadline has learned. Details as to Colin Zayas' role remain stuck in this spider's web. Can I just say, you using using phrases related to the movie, that really kind of, I don't know why, I've never liked that, be remain stuck in the spider's web. That's, I don't know, that kind of turns me off. So, okay, so not much to go on here. Um, maybe um, let me just check something here. Um, so okay, maybe Liza Colon-Zayas will be. I wasn't sure how old she was, so the reason I say that is because depending on her age could depend on what kind of character she plays. Um, so maybe she will play an Aunt May kind of figure um, to Spider-Man in this new installment. Maybe. Um, Again, not much to go on. You know, maybe she will play a role model. Maybe she will play a mother figure um, in this movie. Um, so Destin Daniel Cretton will direct the movie, who I believe he directed Shang-Chi. Um, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which was great. Shang-Chi's great. Um, so I'm excited for this movie because in my mind, that again, the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies are the best Spider-Man movies, um, and I'm just excited. I Spider-Man No Way Home, which was the most recent one. That movie broke me. That movie broke me into 1,000 emotional pieces that I have still not yet picked up and put back together. Um, I I ugly cried in that movie. Watching my wife Kate and I went to go see Spider-Man No Way Home, and I ugly cried for about 10 minutes during that movie. And she looked over at me. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine, totally fine." So the reason I brought so I'm interested. Anybody who's seen Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm interested to see where the story goes for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Um, uh, I am eagerly anticipating seeing where the story goes. Um, so yeah, and maybe again this maybe Liza Colon-Zayas will play a role model kind of figure in the movie. We'll see. I'm very excited for this movie. I really want to see it. I can't wait to see it. Jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about this. So, um, much like uh, the tariff, the movie news regarding tariffs earlier in this show that I spoke about, one of the things that I like talking about on this show is um, news regarding like news regarding the industry, not just movie announcements and movie news, but movie news regarding film companies. Um, I like talking about that because it. I like talking about how the industry is um, evolving, and in some cases devolving. Um, but I've always been interested in how the film industry works from a company standpoint. Um, you know the how the Hollywood system works, if you will. So this report is on Reuters. um, which is a very and I think it goes without saying that it's a very reputable. Reuters is a very reputable news uh, site, news company. So, according to this report, Warner Brothers Discovery um, is moving towards splitting the company. So, for those who don't know, who's in charge? David Zaslav. When David Zaslav came on board Warner Brothers, it was. I mean, the long and short of it is Warner Brothers became Warner Brothers Discovery. That is its name now. So this article is on Reuters, published. Uh, let's see, what's today? Um, Published 3 days ago. So this article points out that this article says that Reuters says that, says that Warner Brothers Discovery is moving towards a potential breakup. CNBC reported on Thursday, as media companies explore options for their struggling cable TV businesses and sharpen focus on their faster growing streaming and studios divisions. Um, so this article goes on to say that the media industry is going through what some executives have called a, quote, general disruption, unquote, as millions of subscribers abandon the once lucrative cable TV for streaming. That has piled pressure on companies to consistently produce hit studio content and boost profitability in their streaming businesses. WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, had laid the groundwork for a possible sale or spin-off of its declining cable TV assets in December by announcing a separation from its streaming and studio operations. It reported results under the new structure for the first time on Thursday. A split will align the company with Comcast, which is spinning off most of its cable TV networks, such as MSNBC and CNBC, to position itself for growth in the streaming area. So, this article continues. Analysts have long speculated about a breakup of WBD, formed by the 2022 merger between Warner Media and Discovery. So yeah, in 2022, Warner Media, and Discovery, they merged and became Warner Brothers Discovery. WBD would be leaner and have stronger growth potential without cable assets, but finding a buyer could be difficult. Linear TV is deteriorating, and WBD has big debts, said e-marketer analyst Ross Benes. I think that's how you pronounce it. So, this article continues. Its CEO, David Zaslav, said on Thursday the company's programming strength was helping Max, formerly HBO Max, attract subscribers in a crowded market for streaming services. So, essentially, Warner Brothers Discovery is heading towards a breakup. They will be splitting the company into two parts. And one part would be their studios and their streaming services, and one part would be their network television. And let's face it, this is a good idea because network television is dying, and it has been for quite a while. So essentially, So the split would be like this. The Warner Brothers would split. So Warner Brothers, HBO, and Max. That's it, formerly HBO Max. Warner Brothers, HBO, and Max would split and become their own company. And their broadcast television, like Food Network, HGTV, Discovery, TNT, TLC, TBS, that would become a separate company, and there would be their own board of directors and things like that. So then you would have two companies. And let's face it, this is the more profitable option because the studios and their streaming content is what's working for Warner Brothers right now, and their network television isn't is that's not working. It's and it will be. This is the more profitable option, because then, I mean, again, this network, this linear TV is deteriorating, um, and it kind of sucks, but that's the evolution of the industry right now. Everything is streaming, everything's digital, everything, it's just how it's just the way it is. So um, instead of this network television bringing the company down, we're going to split it up so that they can be profitable on their own and we can be profitable on their own. And to me, this makes sense. And it's like this article points out, Warner Brothers Discovery would have stronger growth potential, um, and so yeah, and it's just the nature of the business. Um, Quite honestly, and um, it's interesting to see. It's in some ways it's sad to see. It's you know there are remnants left of old Hollywood, but it's not nearly. It's becoming something entirely different. Um, and like I've said, it's just the nature of things. It's just the evolution of the industry. But this is clearly the best option for Warner Brothers Discovery right now. To have their studios and their streaming content be one company, and have their all their broadcast television be a separate company. It's the better option for them, and we'll see what happens. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about that and offer my thoughts. And if you have thoughts about this, if you want to comment about that, go ahead. I'd love to know if anybody has thoughts about what's going on. So this next bit of news um, has to do with an upcoming. I'm trying to think of how to say it. So there's a writer director by the name of James Gray, who directed The Lost City of Z. I believe. Um, let me look up something just so I get it right. James Gray. Yes. So James Gray directed The Lost City of Z, and he also directed this movie starring Brad Pitt called Ad Astra, which is this space science fiction movie starring and stars Brad Pitt, and it's great. I really think it's underappreciated. And Tommy Lee Jones played Brad Pitt's father. It's great. So he will be uh, doing a new movie. James Gray is doing a new movie. This article is on CBR, published by Deanna Carpenter, and this article says Paper Tiger, the new film from writer director James Gray, has just revealed two major casting announcements. Per Deadline, Scarlett Johansson and Miles Teller have been added to the movie's lineup that already includes Adam Driver. Um, Let me see here. Um, so this article goes on to say that Paper Tiger is described as a tense and gritty story revolving around two brothers who pursue the American dream, only to become entangled in a scheme that turns out to be too good to be true. As they try to navigate their way through an ever more dangerous world of corruption and violence, they find themselves and their family brutally terrorized by the Russian mafia. Their bond begins to fray, and betrayal, once utterly thinkable, now becomes all too possible. This sounds this sounds great. This sounds great to me. I love. Uh, for some reason, why whenever I hear whenever I hear the term gritty to describe something, that intrigues me. I When I hear the term gritty, there's a certain I associate that word with a very specific look visually to a film, and I love that look. So that automatically piques my interest. Um, Becoming entangled in a scheme that turns out to be, nav- navigating a dangerous world of corruption and violence. Awesome. Take my money now. I like Miles Teller. I think I think uh, I think he can be overrated. I think sometimes he's great, and sometimes he is just I don't know. He's not someone that um, like I've seen him in films and I like him, but he I'm struggling with how I want to say it. I just he's fine to me. I'm not saying I think he's overrated. I'm just saying that I think for me the films that he has been in I was interested in them like I'm not just interested in them because he's in them. I'm interested in them because of the story and the characters. And if Miles Teller's in it, good. If he's not, fine. You know, Scarlett Johansson has been one of my favorite actresses for a long time. I think again she is someone who is uniquely talented. She can do it all. Um, um, I think, and this sounds weird to say, I think watching her in the Black Widow movie, I think she displayed that was a movie where she was able to display um, her range as an actress. And I know that's a weird example of a movie to point out, but I think the the emotional turmoil that the character of Natasha goes through in that movie, I think Scarlett Johansson really was able to put on an acting clinic. I you know, but this sounds great to me. You know, again, a gritty story uh, about a family being brutally terrorized by the Russian mafia. Uh, cool. That's uh, that piques my interest. Um, so I'm looking forward to this. James Gray, having done especially Lost City of Z and especially Lost City of Z and Ad Astra. Um, like that's you're gonna get my attention. So I'm really looking forward to this. Um, I think this could be I think this could be great. Um, it's set to start. Production is set to start next month, so we'll be getting this movie soon. So I'm really looking forward to this. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about this. So this next bit of news um, is this. So there's an upcoming dark comedy movie that will be um, um, directed by Lucy McKendrick, who I'm not familiar with, and it will. Uh, but the movie is going to star one of my favorite actors and one of my favorite actresses. So this article is on Joe Blow, published by E.J. Tangonen. Um, and about halfway down in this article, it says Edgerton, Joel. So Joel Edgerton is going to be in this movie called Fangs. Um, Edgerton has signed on to star in a black comedy with Toni Collette titled Fangs. According to Variety, the film is described as a thrilling black comedy about privilege, power, and dangerous fantasies. Um, this article goes on to say, per Variety, the film follows Teddy, uh, who will be played by Lucy McKendrick. So Lucy McKendrick is directing, and she will also be in the movie. Teddy, the daughter of a private prison mogul who becomes obsessed with a charismatic inmate, Fangs, played by Joel Edgerton. Consumed with desire for the self-proclaimed psychopath, Teddy risks everything as her life spirals spectacularly out of control. Cool. Sounds like a bit of sounds like Stockholm syndrome. You know, that sounds cool. Um, Joel Edgerton. I love Joel Edgerton. You know, the first movie I saw him in was Attack of the Clones, the second Star Wars prequel, and it was great to see him return in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show as Uncle Owen Lars. He was in this movie called, I think it was called Warrior, with Tom Hardy, and kind of it was this MMA fighting movie about two brothers who have conflicting ideals, but they have to reconcile. And Nick Nolte is in it, I think, and it's called Warrior. and it's great. It's awesome. And Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy got pretty cut for for that movie. They're shredded in that movie, and I love Joel Edgerton. He's become quite an accomplished director as well. Toni Collette is one of my favorite actresses. The first time I saw Toni Collette was in The Sixth Sense. He played she. I'm sorry, she played um, Haley Joel Osment's mom in that movie, and she was wonderful. She was wonderful, and I've um, um, followed her career ever since. Now, here's the thing. The funny thing about Toni Collette is that, so in The Sixth Sense, she has, first of all, Toni Collette she's Australian. But in The Sixth Sense, she does a pitch perfect American accent. And that is one of many examples where I think to myself, why is it that actors and actresses who are not American can do better American accents than American actors and actresses can do foreign accents? Like it was perfect. It reminds me of Hugh Laurie on House. That American accent is pretty good, and it's like come on, man. Like if anybody tried to do a British accent, an English accent, it would suck. But here he is doing. But anyway, Toni Collette, I think is wonderful. Um, she's very accomplished in the industry. I really want to watch Hereditary. She was in Hereditary. I really want to watch it. She was great. I just watched Knives Out again recently, and she's so good in that. And I love so a thrilling black comedy about privilege, power, and dangerous fantasies. Okay, cool. You know, self-proclaimed psychopath Teddy risks everything as her life spirals spectacularly out of control. Consumed with desire for the self-proclaimed psychopath. That sounds interesting to me, that being a dark comedy. I love dark comedies. I myself have kind of um, a dark sense of humor, so um, I dark comedies really appeal to me. And you have an actor like the caliber of Joel Edgerton and an actress um, the caliber of Toni Collette. Sign me up. This sounds great. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about this. Moving on. So, speaking of Toni Collette, um, she will she will be in an she is joining she's joining an ensemble cast for another movie. Um, this article is on Variety, published by Alex Rittman. Um, so there's a director by the name of Rain Allen Miller who let me see here. Um, who I'm not familiar with. So there's there's an actress by the name of Vivian Opera, um, who was in um, this movie called Rye Lane, which I've not heard of. So anyway, This article is on Variety, published by Alex Rittman. Rain Allen Miller has tapped Vivian Oparah, the breakout and BAFTA nominated star of the writer director's hugely acclaimed debut feature, Rye Lane, to lead the cast of her second film, The Roots Maneuver, Variety can reveal. Um, Alongside Oparah, Toni Collette, um, Paterson Joseph, and Jessica Henwick. Jessica Henwick was in Glass Onion, the second Knives Out movie. Um, Little Sims and Thomas Turgoose from Mickey 17 have also joined the cast of the London set heist comedy due for theatrical release with Amazon MGM Studio Orion Pictures. Let's see. This article goes on to say, from a script by Alan Miller, The Roots Maneuver follows a young woman who orchestrates a daring heist to recover a stolen artifact, covering her tracks by managing the whirlwind of a luxury wedding. That sounds interesting. That sounds cool. Um, I so again, I not much to go on here. I've already spoken about how much I love Toni Collette. I'm not too familiar. Uh, Jessica Henwick I like, um, but so not much else to for me to say. I like heist movies, and this sounds like it's going to be a. This article points out that it's going to be a comedic heist movie. Um, I think that could be hilarious. Having to deal with the heist while also dealing with other things that has the potential to be great. Um, navigating a navigating a wedding at the same time. That could be maybe the heist. Maybe they uh, literally crash the wedding. I don't know. Maybe that sounds cool. You know, sign me up. So um, so the acclaimed feature Rye Lane. Okay, so Rain Allen Miller's directorial debut was critically acclaimed. That's great. Um, I haven't seen it, but if it's great, then that bodes well for Rain Allen Miller's career. Hopefully, um, this her sophomore outing will go well as well. Um, so the script will be written by Rain Allen Miller as well. Getting it, I don't want to talk about it too much, but like getting the actress the caliber of a Toni Collette, that says to me that the script is good, and hopefully it is, so that Rain Allen Miller, um, and Vivian Oparah can their careers continue to grow. Um, this sounds really cool to me. A comedic heist movie. I that sounds like an interesting take on the heist movie genre. So yeah, jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about that. All right, one final bit of news here before I end the show. So um, before I want to I want to preface this by saying, so I am a huge fan of the movie Ted. Uh, that was directed by Seth MacFarlane and starred Mark Wahlberg, and Seth MacFarlane obviously doing the voice of the teddy bear Ted. I'm a huge fan of that movie. That was actually, uh, if I could get a little sentimental here, Ted was the first movie that my wife bought me when we were dating. So that movie will have a special place in my heart uh, for that reason. Um, I liked Ted 2. Um, it was pretty good. I think the first movie is better, but I thought Ted 2 was pretty good. And there has been uh, there is a Ted prequel series uh, that um, just got renewed for a second season. So now um, there will be another series in about Ted, but not in the way that you might think. So this article is on CBR, published by Lee Freitag. Um, and this article points out that um, the streaming service Peacock has ordered a TED animated series that will take place after the events of the two TED live action features, which were released in 2012 and 2015. McFarlane will reprise the voice of the foul-mouthed titular teddy bear, with Wahlberg, Amanda Seyfried, and Jessica Barth also coming back in their respective film roles as John, Sam, and Tammy Lynn. Ted the Animated Series has also unveiled the first new additions to the cast, with Saturday Night Live alum Kyle Mooney and Liz Richmond, who played Polly in the prequel series, set to voice new characters Apollo and Ruth, respectively. Peacock has also released a behind-the-scenes look at the cast recording together, which can be viewed on Instagram further down in this article. So, we're getting a TED animated series, and it sounds like, it'd be interesting to see where John and Sam, Mark Wahlberg and Amanda Seyfried's character, are. Like where their relationship status is in this series. Tammy Lynn coming back is interesting. If you know the events of Ted 2, it'll be interesting also to see how that relationship has evolved. I really think that Seth MacFarlane, like everybody just associates him with Family Guy, right? And he's incredibly talented and very intelligent on a number of different things. Katie and I forget how long ago it was, but we went to go see him on stage, and he had um, a new music album come out. He's a wonderful singer too. He's got a very a great singing voice, and he's on stage and sing. We went to go see him, and it was wonderful. He was on stage singing and naturally drinking, and it was wonderful. And he's it bothers me that he's just known as the guy from Family Guy. Like, he's very intelligent and very talented, and in many ways, and he's an Oscar nominee, for crying out loud. So I mean, I'm excited I'm looking forward to seeing this animated series. I wonder. I haven't seen the prequel show, but I wonder if the animated series will be as foul-mouthed as the movies. I hope it is, because that's part of the appeal, right? I wonder if it'll be as uh, raunchy as the movies. I hope so. I hope it's good, and I hope it's on for a while. We'll see. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about a Ted animated series. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this week. Long show today, long show, uh, but it's fine. It's totally fine. There's a lot of things happening. Almost famous. It's all happening. Um, so I hope you enjoyed the show today. I will be back uh, this coming weekend. Um, Katie and I are going to go see Thunderbolts on Friday, I think. Um, it looks great. Um, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the show today, and I hope you continue to enjoy the show. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, spread the word for people who might be to people who might be interested in this show. Um, and I hope everyone is doing well. And until next week, I will see you at the movies.